What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we are going to discuss the small dilemma that the Pistons are in right now, and that is trying to decide who is going to be the backup point guard for this team this upcoming season. We're going to go over 5 different directions that they can go for the backup point guard. Some include signing a couple free agents that are left on the board, and a couple are also using certain players that are already on the roster in that role. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what I think I would prefer as the best option going forward, but we're going to give all of these a fair shake and walk right through each option. So for the first option, I have signing Tyus Jones. He is still a free agent as of today. He is a 28-year-old player who last year played for the Washington Wizards, where he started every game he played, averaging 12 points and 7 assists. The most impressive part about Tyus Jones is the fact that despite averaging 7 assists, he only had 1 turnover per game. Looking at that is just wild because that's got to be some type of record. Definitely had to lead the assist turnover ratio last year in the league, because normally like a 4 or 5 is good enough to win the assist to turnover ratio battle, but 7-1 is crazy. So I definitely wouldn't be against Tyus Jones coming into the team and just taking over the backup point guard role. More of a table setter for general, not going to be like an explosive scorer or anything like that, but I would be pretty cool with Tyus Jones coming in. I know that there's still a little bit of cap room to deal with, and considering that it's July 18th and he still isn't signed, maybe we'd be able to get him to come in on a little bit of a discount. So for the second option, we have Spencer Dinwiddie. So Spencer is now 31 years old, where last year he averaged 10 points and 4 assists. He was kind of playing in a weird role after getting traded at the deadline to the Los Angeles Lakers, where I don't think he played his best basketball, but he is a veteran who started his career in Detroit and potentially could be coming in on quite the discount as well. Again, any of these guys that are still free agents might be cheaper than you'd expect. So if we wanted to use some of the last bit of cap room we had left on Spencer Dinwiddie and let him take over as the backup point guard, I guess that'd be okay. Maybe Cade could learn a thing or two from him, considering that he's kind of the same type of build of a bigger guard that Cade was. But I definitely can't say that adding Spencer would be my favorite option on this list. So for option 3, we have Markelle Fultz. So Markelle Fultz is now 26 years old, and he's had a pretty crazy NBA career. Of course, he was the first overall pick in the draft, had some sort of nerve damage in his shoulder, and also the yips maybe that caused him to kind of forget how to shoot, where he went through all sorts of struggles with that. But not last year, but the year before, he had a pretty good comeback year for the Orlando Magic, where he was starting for them, averaged 14 points and 5 assists, and looked like he was starting to take a step in the direction as a real starting caliber NBA point guard. But this past year, he did lose his starting spot to Jalen Suggs, who was a bit younger, broke out, and fit the team's needs a little bit more, helped with that Magic identity to work on defense. So Markelle kind of had a down year last year, where he only averaged 8 points and 3 assists and shifted to a bench role. So if he wanted to come over to Detroit and kind of take over the bench point guard role here, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I think if it had to be between these 3 free agents that are left on the board, the way I would stack rank them would be Tyus would be my favorite, and then Markelle, and then Spencer. So definitely somewhere in the middle on Markelle Fultz. If you wanted to come in for a year or 2 on a vet minimum and take over that backup point guard role, I wouldn't be upset about it whatsoever, especially if he played similar to how he played 2 seasons ago when he was averaging 14 and 5 for the Orlando Magic. Now, for option number 4, we have Marcus Sasser being the bench point guard role, and under this situation, we are going to assume that Jaden Ivey would be starting next to Cade Cunningham, and then the bench backcourt would be some variation of Marcus Sasser with Malik Beasley, Marcus Sasser with Tim Hardaway Jr., or something along those lines. So Marcus Sasser, of course, is going into his sophomore year, and even though he is undersized, he definitely has more of a shooting guards type of role and skill set, despite being in what you would probably assume would be a point guard's body in the NBA. Marcus Sasser, those M names got me screwed up. Marcus Sasser has kind of been given the point guard reins with the Pistons Summer League team as of now, and we have covered it on this channel already multiple times about how that's going for him. He's been initiating the offense for the most part for the Summer League team, and it hasn't been amazing. I don't think it's as bad as some people have made it out to be, but even though that he has been given kind of the point guard reins for the Summer League team, he still looks his best and his most comfortable when he's in his Marcus Sasser, I'm going to go get a bucket type of role versus being a floor general type of role. So I don't really know how I feel about this. With him being handed the keys to the backup point guard role, I don't think that I would be too excited to watch that happen. I would be happy to be proven wrong, but I just don't think his skill set really enables him to be an initiating guard, consistently dribbling the ball at the floor every single possession down. So I'm kind of against this, to be honest with you. But like I said, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. And if he can kind of develop his playmaking a little bit and take over as that backup point guard behind Cade, that'd be great. But anyways, for number 5 and the last one is going to be Jaden Ivey. And now when I have Jaden Ivey listed here as a potential for the backup point guard role, I am not saying that he can't start and also be the bench backup point guard, because there's definitely a way that Ivey and Cade could start, but their minutes get staggered, right? So hypothetically, they start the game together. At the 5-minute mark in the first quarter, Ivey goes to the bench. Cade plays for the next 4 minutes, and then Ivey checks back in when Cade gets a breather. And then you just kind of stagger their rest, and then keeping that other backcourt position open for guys like Malik Beasley or Sasser or Tim Hardaway Jr. to check into the game. Personally, I think this is going to be my favorite option for a couple different reasons. One, I think that Jaden Ivey, despite having a lot of issues where he does get in the paint and leaves his feet without a plan, can sometimes be a little bit turnover prone, I think that he projects to be able to handle the ball as much as a point guard would a lot better than Marcus Sasser. I think that he has the ability to penetrate the defense and break down defenses more than Sasser. I think that he's better at getting to the hoop and a little bit better as a pick and roll ball handler. His burst is obviously better, but he does need to clean up the turnovers, and I think if that happens, that would be the best way to go about it, and also would be pretty similar to how Bickerstaff handled his 2 guards in Cleveland. When Bickerstaff was in Cleveland, of course, he had Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And like he mentioned in one of his press conferences, his goal was to keep one of his dynamic players on the floor at all times. And he meant his 2 guards by that. And I think replicating that system here in Detroit with Jaden Ivey is going to be the best way to go. But I could also be okay with going and grabbing Tyus Jones or Markelle Fultz to take over that role. So that's where I lean. I definitely feel like that's the best way to go about things as of right now. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys want to see as the Pistons' backup point guard? It can be anybody who's still a free agent. It can be Ivey. It can be Sasser. Or even give me some recommendations on people you think that might be able to get targeted in a trade. Would be happy to hear what you guys think. I definitely have an open mind on this and looking forward to see how this works out. Catch y'all soon.